And the first panel discussion session on digitization and automation, game-changing trends in HR, is the first session of the day. And we have a plethora of experts with us in this particular panel. So before I call on the honorable panel members, a quick brief about what exactly this panel is going to talk about. Understanding the need of the HR transformation as per current market scenario, artificial intelligence and the new era of human resources, how technology like AI, RPA is transferring and recruiting payroll management, leveraging the AI for robotics, chatbots, and virtual assistants that support the HR processes, and many more. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce to you the honorable panel members in the order of the sequence. Joining us first, Ms. Sonali Chadda, HR Director, Global Corporate Functions, Intercontinental Hotels Group. A big round of applause to Sonali ji. Sonali, welcome to the stage. Wonderful to have you here. Please take your seat. Joining next, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Manish, Kathuria, Head of Human Resources, Honda Cars India. A big round of applause to Manish ji. Manish, welcome to the stage. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, Mr. RAKSHIT, Head of HR, Hero MotoCorp. A big round of applause to Dharam ji. Welcome to the panel, Mr. RAKSHIT. Please have your seat. Joining us next in the panel, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Niral Bhatt, General Manager HR, Zydus Group. A big round of applause to Mr. Bhatt. Welcome to the panel, Mr. Bhatt. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, Mr. Sandeep Singh, General Manager HR, Kusum Healthcare. A big round of applause to Mr. Singh. Welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the honorable moderator for this panel, Mr. David Madhan, Vice President, Marketing and Global Partner Ecosystem, Adrenalin Systems. A big round of applause to David. David, welcome to the panel. And David, as we have a fantastic panel here, first panel of the day, a lot of expectations from the audience, full house audience here. Leaving it all over to you, Captain of the Ship, for a great session.
Right, thank you. Am I audible, guys? You're not audible. I can hear only the 10 people here in the front, and most of them are the sponsors. Come on, guys. You need to energize us this morning. Because the topic is interesting, right? You know, no better topic to start the day. And I believe this topic is hotter than the coffee that we got outside, because all of us are talking about digital automation and the small buzzword which everybody is talking about. Any guesses of what that word is? AI, right? It's something which has become a part of all our lives. So I can't have AI bring in the energy. It is the HI here which needs to bring in the energy. So, morning guys, once more. Now I'm sounding like, you know, this is my time to get back at all the HR folks who made me stand every Friday for Fun Friday activities and say, lift your hand here and there. So give yourself a big round of applause, folks. I can see some good smiles here. So as I said, this is, you know, one of the topics that is, you know, catching up predominantly, especially the way digital transformation by itself in people management functions has taken place in the last, say, 3 to 4 years, especially post-COVID. And I'm really privileged because I have a rock star team here, and I think collectively together amongst the 5 of them, they have more than 150, 160 man-years of experience, right? So add another 25 years of experience from my side there. So on the stage, you have 150 years to 160 years of HR experience and about 25 years of giving trouble to HR experience. That was a joke from ChatGPT. So if you guys didn't laugh for it, then that means that I need to go back and give the feedback to them. So thanks once again. And I think all of us in this room, especially the HR folks, each one of you are at a different stage of digital transformation for people management within your organization. Anybody here who's not going through that phase? Good. I see that no hands were raised, which means that literally everybody were there. So we're going to try and make this session interactive, learning, helping you to draw from the experience that this panel has got, not just from man years of experience, but if I take a look at it, It's an experience that spans across geographies, continents, various types of businesses, spanning from hospitality to retail to, automotive to pharma and healthcare. So, so we're going to have this session interactive. So which means like, there's going to be about 45 minutes of speaking time, and we want to open the floor for you audience to come back and ask any questions that you may have. So make the most of it. We have some great people on the stage. Make the most of their experience and loosen up, guys. This is not an office. You're here at an event, and this is to learn and have some fun and have some humor, right? So without further ado, I would request each of the panelists to introduce themselves for a couple of minutes, speak about your experience from a professional perspective, as well as also talk a bit about, the stages. It's an interesting slide that Sanjay put up, right? So the entire digital and automation space has evolved. It's gone from being a system of records to a system of experiences today is what we believe at Adrenalin. So what are your experiences when it comes up to digital transformation? I'll go from the last, Sonali, if you can go first.
Hello. Thank you, David. I'm Sonali Chadda. I represent Intercontinental Hotels Group. I carry over 25 years of experience. So if I look back my experience from making employee files, celebrating Mayank's birthday, fighting over birthday budgets, to setting the business context, bringing the confidence to the senior management, talking about the location policies, bringing more expertise in terms of making employees' engagement and colleague experience, I think the complete landscape of HR has changed. And this would not have or could not have been done without the technology and AI. Today, before coming to the panel and representing IHG, of course, we looked at our phones to see the Google map, that how much time it's going to take, paying bills from our phone, and then coming here and talking about experiences. I think we all have had the help of ChatGPT, how this is going to help us. So that's where I have seen and witnessed and been the part of this journey.
Thanks, Sonali. Manish.
Let me align with technology then. We are talking about technology, so let me align my introduction with technology then.
Okay.
So 3 years, 4 years after passing out, I was nowhere because I was changing companies here and there. And then the continuity started with Honda Cars India, and that is where I deep dive into technology. I would like to know if we are going to implement technology, what is going to be the outcome of it in a longer period. And that is where this experience have been a very healthy for me. 14 odd years with Honda Cars India. Implemented a lot of technologies, looked at how technologies have changed cars. The same way would the technology change the human productivity.
True.
So that is what I've been learning. I'm still learning, and I will still learn in the future as well for technology.
Thanks, Manish. That's a very good background that you gave, especially Honda cars. I think everybody can relate to it, and the way technology has evolved in the automotive industry by itself is obviously the byproduct of that would be learnings for every individual in that organization. So from four-wheeler to two-wheeler with a dash of Coke, that's the background with Dharamji. Dharamji, over to you.
Thanks, David, for bringing a very interesting kind of the discussion here. Okay. Today, we are living in the world where the technology dominates, and technology dominating everywhere. Even if you see this thing 10 years back, when we would have been similar kind of the conference, perhaps some projector would be reflecting back what is in the background kind of things. And today we have the LED screens and big, huge screen kind of thing. And that didn't realize this thing when this transformation actually happened. Same thing is also happening within the industry kind of things, because the technology is there, technology evolving, and technology day by day is transforming our life. And many of the time we are not able to recognize when our life has transformed. Just remember sometimes back when during the COVID time, overnight everybody switched to the online kind of system. Okay? Even the manufacturing sector of automotive, we were not able to open our factories. Okay? But we were doing the strategy, and the strategy was actually making a strategy how to combat that COVID, and then after when the COVID would be over, how we are going to meet out the new challenges which has been unexpectedly has come to us. And what was the support system? The technology was the support system. Okay? That transformed the way. I know many of the guys who were not very technically savvy. Overnight, they have become the technologically very, very savvy kind of things. Today, in the morning, when we were having the chit chat, okay, and then what we realized is how the technology has actually eaten many of the kind of things. So, for example, you don't carry your camera. It is now your mobile phone. You don't have the calculator. It is your mobile phone. Okay? So, yeah, looking back to the HR domain, what is actually happening? I am not physically present in my office, but I am carrying my office in my mobile. Okay? I am seeing my mails, I am doing all the kind of the approvals and other kind of things from my mobile itself. And that the technology is enabling me to make my workplace redundant. So now you see this thing in the industry, there are three kind of the work systems are prevailing. Work from the workplace, largely the manufacturing setup, which is actually has to be there to support and to operate the machine. Then the work from anywhere, that is a hybrid system. And then the work from home. All three systems are actually working, and that is due to the technological transformation, and HR is very quickly adopting those kind of things. Off the line, you caught me, and I was meeting with one of my friends, Sudhakar, and then we were talking about the background verification. And you see this thing, what this guy is telling you, background verification, you don't require to go to the person. I can do it online.
Correct.
Okay? So those kind of things have actually changed, and this is the shaping of the entire agenda for future. The question before the bigger challenge is here, that how HR is embracing those kind of changes and making itself resilient so that they can meet with the upcoming
Very true, very true. Two points that comes to my mind from what you're saying, right? So one is, the way technology evolved is not work from anywhere. For us, it is work from everywhere, right? Because there's pressure to work from everywhere. Gaya was zamana when, when you used to say, I have to do this, I have to do that. Today, everything is available, not just emails, but every business application and every work-related information is available in the form of a mobile app, right? And talking about redundancy, I know for sure one role that is going to become redundant in the next 2 years. Guess what? No. HR will be there to provide the human aspect. Instead of me, there will be a robot sitting here and asking you questions that is generated from ChatGPT, and you'll be answering that based on human intelligence.
No, but one thing, a bigger thing about, because ChatGPT, machine learning, whatever kind of things, let's not miss out the human connect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect. Because, the reason why I asked is I'm prompting questions here, and prompt engineer is the newest job. Which is there, right? Newest skill set which is there. So, Niral, over to you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this wonderful session. My name is Niral Bhatt, and I represent Zydus Group. I am part of the HR team of Zydus. My experience lies, and I have worked in different industries, right from retail to telecom to FMCG to pharma. So my experience over the past 22 decades lies in connecting with people, connecting with business leaders to highlight the agenda of HR at the apex level. HR business partnership with organization leaders. Currently I'm involved in different verticals of R&D and operations in HR operations, and I'm also part of the panel member for the organization for conducting UATs for different products on technology, AI, and the way we can make HR better in terms of agility and experience.
Right.
So that is, and the questions that you gave me is really, and first of all, thanks to David for being such a fantastic anchor to this entire panel. And he's been connecting with us for the past few days with a lot of rigor. And I woke up 3 days back after reading your message. So I said, let me put something here.
No, sir, I said, no, I want to keep up my job as a panelist. If I don't do that, as a moderator, if I don't do that, you'll get automated messages from ChatGPT or some AI tool. So I wanted to give that personal touch.
So it's going to be an exciting session with you, David, and with the people sitting around here. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Niral. Sandeep, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Good morning, everybody. And this is Sandeep. I'm representing Kusum Group. And Talking about AI, and as Niral had said, I'm also having a versatile experience from FMCG, IT, chemical industry, media, and other ventures. Talking about other scenarios of industries and the experience which I overcome over the years, I felt like the gap which I felt being a person from down the line to the up the line, the journey which I felt was the data, how I map the data and how fastly I map the data. And for sure, that was a gap which everybody of us had been experiencing over the years, which is somewhere pinching us how well we can modulate the data and what outcome we can have from the data. That was altogether discussion over the journey of years within the fraternity, and thanks to AI and other tools, machine learning and other things, which I feel like these days it is helping a lot in terms of data encrypting and how the big data is moving around for the outcome of the industry and the requirement of the company. That is a big call. And many of my friends, which have rightly stated that, listening Sonali and others, and the journey from small kind of activations to bigger interventions, that happens all about technology. But my call is just, it's not just the technology we should be talking about. We should also look in the human quotient, emotional quotient, and the social quotient involved in it, because it's all linked with humans. So how well, as I was seeing the presentation of the personal before this session, there was 59% of disengagement of quiet quitting and 18% was of loud quitting. So that was a big question in my mind, at the back of my mind, when I was seeing that. Why it is happening, in spite of having AI and machine learning? It's all about how we involve with humans. We are lacking it. We are coming up with the data, and exactly the attrition is high still in IT industry. Why they are moving on? Yeah? This is a big question. And even our industry, when we are talking about manufacturing other things. So this needs to be on a high side in terms of detailed attention on the data and how it can help us. That is a big question.
True, thanks. Thanks. You know, on the lighter side, Sandeep, I think, you spoke a bit about some of the lines that you gave. I thought you would reserve that for the question that I'm going to ask you later about analytics. Now that you answer that, I think you can look up ChatGPT. So just kidding. So, it's interesting, from what I heard each one of you say, right? And, the most interesting aspect is, yes, there is AI. If I need to summarize from whatever I heard, there is AI, there is new technologies. But there are two driving points here. One is, what is the outcome? Technology is going to continue to evolve, but what exactly is the outcome? And more so, HR is becoming a function where how do you actually kind of go ahead and measure that outcome? Because if you take a look at it from any other business digitization perspective, there is always some sort of an ROI linked with it. But how do you actually go ahead and measure the outcome of digitizing an HR department? That's a question mark that always comes up, right? And the other thing is, which also came up is, yes, there are going to be technologies like AI, ML and all that, but at the end of the day, all these technologies have been still created by humans, and we need humans to build those relationships with humans. Technology will only enable us and help us, and that's where HR plays a very important part. So I'm going to jump back to the first point, and Sonali, maybe I'll point this question towards you, right? So you started off saying that outcome, right? I was just looking up some numbers, and one of the numbers that stood out was last year alone, about globally, I don't know how many of you know, but about $31.5 billion was spent globally into technologies to digitize and automate various aspects of people management function, right? I want to move away from HR and I want to call it as people management functions here, right? Because as HR people, you just don't deal only with your employees, but you deal with a whole set of people, right? So people management functions alone, various aspects, $31.5 billion was invested. Only in India, take a wild guess, how much was it? Any guesses? That is, the question is, the investment into digital technologies for people management. Only in India last year, about $1 billion was invested by companies. Maybe companies which you work for also. How many of the companies that, how many of you here are here with companies that embarked some sort of a digital transformation for people management in the last 2 years? That is getting some HRMS, learning management, any of the other software. I see at least 40 to 50% of the room raising their hands, right? So that's the type of investment that is made. So what do you think is the, what is driving this, right? And how do organizations actually get the ROI or the outcome? How do they measure that? What are your thoughts on that, Sonali?
I think the moment you take a deep dive and see that why we have and we are investing in technology and what role HR is playing, you see the answer. Information is the power. How can you reach that information which is needed to take a decision? When you are taking a decision, you are driving some outcome. And for that decision, you need some information. And for that, you need technology. Because today, if you need some information, you go to Google, you go to various platforms, you just ask that. You are using an iPhone, you use Siri to book, and Siri has become your EA. So why we are doing this? We are saving that time to do more value-add things. We are saving that time to take the right decision. And the information, the kind of information you need to take the right decision, that has to be accurate. And if this is not accurate, your decision will be faulty. So what is the most trusted way? I think that's technology, because that helps you creating more tools, giving you accurate information, and helps you taking the right decision. So that's where I think organizations have started investing in. For more HR tools, they are investing to see, and as you have said, and we have seen in the slide, 59% not actively engaged employees. They have something, they are not engaged because they know the kind of work they are doing, it's monotonous, it's not adding value, and they are not happy. So how we can gauge that? So with AI and ML, we are getting to see, we have tools in place, we know where organization is going, but at the same time, I have realized, even after investing trillions of dollars in upskilling the workforce, that human element, you just cannot take that away. Otherwise, we would have been having this conversation, this conclave, this summit, over a virtual platform, not in this room.
Right. Thanks. So some interesting points you made there, right? So one is, yes, of course. So if I need to summarize, the key takeaway is, just one aspect from, how technology is kind of, and the outcome that is going to come is the simple aspect of how do you identify what are the areas where you want to skill and reskill your employees? How do you identify areas where you could engage with them better so that their outcome and productivity is going to be more? How do you identify areas where you should kind of go and nudge your employees using technology? Because not if you're in an organization like ISG where you're handling thousands and thousands of employees, personally nudging every one of them and engaging them is not going to be possible. But kind of using technologies like AI and ML to kind of provide those personalized experiences and nudges, which will enable the employees to move forward. So these are some of the areas, if I could summarize, where you see that, increase in employee involvement, increase in employee engagement, getting a 360-degree visibility into the performance of the employee and identifying the way you want to skill and reskill and enable them to do better are some of the outcomes that you're seeing through technology.
Definitely, David, and we should not be forgetting one word, which is efficiency. So
Absolutely.
when you look at that attrition, the amount of time which is going into an HR, people can better relate to it. 50, 60 candidates interview by the business, and the kind of time they are investing in, if you are bringing and converting that to a data, I think that gives you the insight that why you should be investing in AI-driven hiring practices or tools.
Yeah, absolutely. I like two words that you use there, right? Which is very, very important for each and every HR folks to take into consideration whenever you are going ahead and evaluating any type of digital transformation for your organization. Number one is efficiency, right? But one more E that comes in there along with efficiency is effectiveness, right? Technology today, there's always been technology available to make you efficient, but how do you kind of make it effective is another big question. And you brought up the right point there, right example there, which is on the recruitment side of it, right? Tools have always been there for you to kind of go ahead and parse CVs and identify people, which is the efficient way, right? But today, technologies like AI are coming and giving you outcome in identifying pitfalls in a CV and, you know, kind of giving you efficient questions and the right questions to ask those people and do scoring based on the pattern of answering. So that is where the effectiveness of the tool comes in. And then the efficiency and effectiveness combined together is where the other word which you use, which is very important, which is insights. You know, the problem is with so much of technology coming in, there's so much of data available, right? So how do you make sense of that data and get the right insights? So that is another area which is important. So Niral, I'll just take a quick jump to you, you know. If we see the general pattern, even on the stage in the last 23 minutes that we've been on stage, I've heard AI and ML used at least 20 times amongst 5 of you all. I'm not even including mine, right? So the question that I have for you is, like, you know, this has kind of become a buzzword, especially in the last 2 years. But I personally still feel that organizations are still exploring as to how I can use AI. And it is not just the users, even technology providers like us are also kind of experimenting, and there's a trial and error basis of, you know, where AI can bring about the maximum effectiveness rather than just efficiency alone. Because technology has always been there to kind of make you, you know, efficient, right? So, especially from a people management space, where do you think is the current state of, you know, use of AI? And where do you see it going in the next 2, 4, 6 years?
So David, I'll just touch base upon the AI factor in the human resource domain. Currently, if you see in large organizations, in Indian and multinationals, the AI spectrum has touched upon all the aspects of people management. So nothing as of now, if I could, summarize the role of the current current AI, the role in the managing human resources, is that it has touched upon every aspects of HR sub-functions. To give an example, in Zydus, for example, if I talk about my own experience and my own, formative things that we have done. The role of HR help desk, which was very, very critical 10 years back, or even 5 years back, has been replaced by AI. To give an example, people who wants reimbursement, people, whether it's payroll processing or reimbursement processing, there was a help desk who used to, has at least 10 hours of job addressing queries of people coming to the person. Today, a person can go into his mobile, go into his laptop system, and check it that where and post the query and get the answer, without even getting personally touch base to the HR department. So the current same thing is happening with talent acquisition. Same thing is happening now with learning and development. You need not attend a classroom session to get yourself equipped with certain skill set. There is a directory of courses in the organization which are repetitive, which are having maximum demand of skills. Those skills are already available on system, along with practical insights. So if you see, learning and development, if you see, back-end processing, these are the areas where where AI has gotten into deep inside the sub-functions of HR.
Right, interesting. So if I need to, summarize what you said before I just go to the second part of the question, where do you see this going, right? Maybe I look at it, if you take my personal view and our organizational view, when we talk about AI, right, being in the tech space, we break it down into 3 blocks, right? One is, as you rightly said, productivity, right? Productivity experience. We call it as a productivity experience where you automate the mundane activities like the help desk and stuff like that. The other is the experience bucket, where you kind of improve the employee experience by providing those nudges, celebrations, check-ins, and so on and so forth. And the third bucket where I feel AI is actually coming into play is on the engagement and performance. That's where the skilling and the other aspects come in, because that is directly linked into revenue. So it is as a group, our personal belief that any AI, when it comes up to the realm of work, even in HR, needs to fall into these 3 buckets. One is your productivity, which is the automation of the mundane. The other is enhancing experience of the people. When I say people, remember I keep using the word people because as Sanjay put it across, as HR folks, you still talk to vendors. You still talk to kind of, candidates. You still talk to alumni, right? So all these comes under the realm of people and how do you kind of create the brand experience? Because at the end of the day, when it comes up to internal branding, it's the HR folks who are marketers rather than HR people, right? Because you're going to go ahead and put your brand out there. So that is the experience. And the third is in terms of, how do you kind of use AI to identify those areas of improvement which enables your people to do better, which in turn means higher profitability and higher return as far as outcomes are concerned. And I believe that, and we personally believe that these are the three areas where it is going to continue to evolve, and these are the three areas where AI should evolve. Do you believe the same?
Yeah, see now in the morning Mr. Kamath put a very alarming figure of loss due to disengagement. So now I'll not be surprised after 5 years or not less than a decade if AI helps us to identify those early triggers of disengagement. And if those disengagement is not, not mitigated, then what kind of productive loss it can bring to. So that kind of throwing data, that is one. And secondly, partnering with human intellect as to what kind of solutions can be brought to, curb the situation. So that is where AI is going to focus after 5 years in terms of identifying the causes of disengagement as well as actionables in terms of what needs to be done in order to reduce that productivity, reduce the loss of productivity, increase the retention. So those are the things where AI will be getting into it, partnering with the HR and management. They might not replace with human intellect.
Correct.
But human intellect has to partner with AI.
Correct. So, one of the things that we are working on, and I was sharing with my team also this morning, is we've come up with something which is called PE is equal to HI into AI. Any guesses? People experience is equal to into artificial intelligence. So remember, it is not an addition, it is a multiplication. It is a product. People experience today is a product of how you can apply human intelligence and multiply it with artificial intelligence to create those experiences which comes up with great engagement, right? So that's where we believe, should be the way forward. Manish, I'll jump over to you, primarily because we've spoken about why tech, digitization, AI, but one of the common challenges is, you can relate it to it better because Honda Cars is one of those organizations which has got all types of employees, right? Be it blue-collared, white-collared, field sales force, various types of employees, right? How do you kind of, how do you make, leverage technology to cater to all these aspects? And how do you actually build a strategy toward it? Because more often than not, we find that people kind of neglect the last mile when it comes up to, kind of technology. But today we are living in a generation, even a 2-year-old is not going to eat food without using technology, right? So gone are the days when not knowing technology is an excuse. So how do you kind of bring in the right technology to leverage people to do it?
First of all, let me step back and break down the question which you have asked for the general public, is that in whatever business you are, you need to understand certain factors. The factors is especially your business first and your employees. If both are connected, you will get the highest productivity within the organization. Then the second factor you need to understand is understand the categorization of your employees. As rightly said, there are white-collar people who are very technologically savvy. They have their mobile phones, they can roam around and they can chat with the people who are in the corporate office, more so personalized. Then blue-collar, who is working at the distance, he's working for your quality, but he cannot approach you because of the distance which you have. So you need to penetrate the technology over there to make their life easy, right? Third part, I'll come into it and I'll try to deep dive as well in both the aspect is, then the distance employee, the remote workers. Who are they? They are basically your salespeople and service people. What does they do? They bring revenue to you. So if they are not connected, if they are not engaged, then what will happen? Your productivity will go down, your revenue will go down, your business will shatter, and what you will do? You will ask the people to leave. or change it.
True.
I will take one step back and understand that what type of a philosophy your company is driving. Are your company driving a philosophy of farming people, really nourishing them so that they are being with you and give the productivity on year basis, or you're fishing people from outside? Come out, you fish people, you train them. If they're productive enough, they stay, otherwise let them go. So understand all the factors and then try to understand what they need exactly. The people who are remotely, who are sales and service, they need more connect, may not technology. With technology, you will understand a lot of, integrity things. Are they engaged? What type of support they require? Transaction should be as smooth as possible so that they can concentrate on their sales and service. And once in a while, you go on a quarter-to-quarter basis and have that human connect, which is required.
True.
Multiply with these two factors which you said, right? Are you intelligent enough? And is your technology giving you the right data to connect the right dots?
Correct.
And then understand the blue-collar people. The blue-collar people would not have much communication. They won't run around because they have a tat to take care of. They need to get the right quality. What you will do? You will make sure that you bring the technology to them. Make them learn a bit. It should be very easy. User interface should be very easy. You should have chaos in the vicinity of the blue collar. They go out, as soon as the break is there, they can see the, the screen or the chaos. They can understand their leaves. They can understand their salary. They are happy enough. Right? And after a particular time of 1.5 years or 2 years, you change them.
True.
Right? So this is all technology, what it can do for you. But for people who are beginners, who want to really do a deep dive into technology, first of all, don't understand technology. First, understand your people. And then technology can help you out.
Yeah, understand the business as well, right?
Understand the business. Profitability is what really
More than
matters now.
profitability, as you said, the outcome. What is the business outcome that you want to derive? Profitability is one of the outcomes, but break it down into silos and then look at it. Dharamji, I'll jump to you here, and I want to draw from the experience that you have, because you worked in geographies like countries like Bangladesh, countries like Malaysia, organization like Coke, now to Hero Motors here. Technology has always been there in one shape or form. But the biggest challenge is, building on what Manish was answering about various types of people. How do you make people to, use and adopt the technology? Because any technology is useful only based on the adoption. If you don't adopt it, it is of no use. It's not that AI was born only 2 years ago, right? If you take a look at it, you had artificial intelligence in the Scud missiles, which were shot many years ago, right? That was artificial intelligence because it used to kind of talk about the trajectory and deflect. And there were a lot of other artificial intelligence available in various technologies, but there was no adoption because there was no visibility for that. It was not easy. So there were a lot of other barriers. So when you talk about making people use technology, especially various segments of people to adopt a technology, what are the best practices that you follow in an organization?
You see this thing very interestingly. When any new thing comes, the three things are going to happen. Number one, there will be anxiety, there will be apprehension, and there will be complexities. Once you understand all these three aspects and you start building up your program and policy around it, perhaps the people will be adopting the technology very fast and very effectively. So what happens when any technology comes, you remember when the typewriters were being replaced by the computer. All the PH and the EH who were doing the typewriting job, they immediately thought my job is over. Okay? They never took it like this thing that it is how it is going to make their job much and more effective and efficient kind of things. Okay? And then the people start slowly adopting and embracing the new technology, computerization, and that actually changed the entire landscape. I remember way back in the 1990s when the computerization actually started happening in the Indian Railways and the banking system. What was the apprehension in the mind of everyone? Okay? And now you see this thing that you are having the mobile bank, and perhaps the physical banks are going to lose its importance, but the jobs are not going away. When India aspires to become the 3 trillion economy to the 5 trillion economy, what is actually going to build up? More jobs are going to be created. So let's not have that kind of apprehension first. Because take the technology in your side to making you much and more effective, as other panelists were telling this thing, and more efficient. Okay? Now, being in HR, how you are going to prepare into your entire business as well as your people to adopt it and embrace it seamlessly. That is the most important, I think, the most important ask from the HR right now. Because we talk about the AI, we talk about the ML, we talk about the ChatGPT, so many kind of things. And many of the time I find this thing, organizations start stopping those kind of things. Because the ChatGPT is actually helping you, but at the same time it has the other side also. People write the entire communication on the ChatGPT, start sending to a manager. Manager understand this thing. This is not your communication. That communication has been synthesized by the ChatGPT. Okay? So I have seen the many, and some organizations I also see, like I think if you go to the social media during office time, so this is the best of the productivity. It is not. Let's understand this thing, because anyway the people will find the way out to move and to find out other kind of things. So accept the first organization point of view, accept first that it is going to help you. It is not against you, the first now. Second, like I think that, as Manish was mentioning, that the blue collar workforce. Let's not take it like I think they are not trainable, they cannot adopt the technology. Everybody using the Facebook, WhatsApp, every kind of things, and nobody has taught them. No organization has gone and invested in teaching them how to operate the WhatsApp kind of a thing. Okay? They have understood. They have also understood because the moment you automated your payroll, okay, previously there was a time when actually you give the salary in cash, they have to move to the banking, then after you move to the, like I think, the salary transfer, and then now the trigger comes that your salary has been created. They understand, they have also accepted, and they are also embracing that kind of technology. Only thing, how we are going to leverage that kind of a thing, that kind of a mindset. So example, like I will give you like that many of the organizations, including ours, we have set up the kiosk for the blue collar workforce where you can go and have the many of your employee data and every kind of things, you can download it. You can see this thing, what's happening. Why you will come to the HR department asking for your leave. What is my leave balance, or that kind of thing, you can go and see this thing. That has been automated. Second kind of thing, like I think income tax and other kind of things, you can also go and see this thing, what is my income and what is my tax deduction which has happened. Now what we are also doing this thing, that many of the modules are on the go. That is on your mobile. So you just download the K-Point, log into the system, and then you find this thing that on the go you are actually learning. So for example, my plan to the nearest place where they used to reside, it is around half hour to 1 hour journey. During that period of time, either the people were sleeping. Now we are using the technology to actually fasten their learning curve and then utilize the display time properly. White collar, I find this thing much and more complex compared to the blue collar.
Interesting. Interesting viewpoint.
Because white collar has the more apprehension, more anxiety than the blue collar. So because they understand this thing, when this kind of things are going to happen, what I am going to lose, and what they are not seeing the flip side, what I am going to gain. Okay? So when the mundane job, you see the World Economic Forum report, they are telling us the mundane job, the repetitive nature of the jobs will be away. That will not be there. But however, the innovations, creativity, data science, those are the new jobs which are emerging out.
True.
The question, like I think, are you equipping right now about the new competency set which is going to happen, and whether technology is going to be an enabler, or you are the other side standing on the other
True.
side.
True.
So that's my perspective.
No, it's interesting perspective because, you know, the point that you actually made, right? Many of us, being white-collared employees, sometimes overlook the apprehensions that we ourselves put on the table when it comes up to using technology. We might use technology for our personal benefit, but when it is actually coming in from an enterprise perspective, the first question that always comes is the thought of apprehension, right? And that's an interesting perspective that you put in there, because especially when it comes up to blue-collared employees, they don't look at technology from any expectation perspective. they look at it from, okay, it's making my life easier perspective. For example, we launched, everybody uses WhatsApp today. Today we launched, just downloading a payslip on WhatsApp with secured aspects. So that took away the headache of, for one of our customers of, having 5,000 blue-collared workers. How do you kind of give them all the details of their pay? And they can question back using Hindi or any of those languages about their payslip details using a bot as well. So these are people who actually, look at it from, it's going to be ease of use. It's making my life easy. It's saving me a lot of time from going in from pillar to post, not knowing where do I to go for the information. And that is what is kind of, the simple yet impactful and meaningful use of technology to blue-collar workers is one of the areas where you could increase adoption. And the other thing is when it comes up to white-collar workers, there is going to be a far more learning curve where, more thought processes into organization policies. How do you kind of go ahead and enable them, provide the value proposition, value add of the technology for them in order for them to adopt the technology to the fullest. Did I summarize whatever you said in the right manner?
And that is nothing to do with the HR, but that's about our technology kind of
Right.
thing. Yesterday night I has gone to a restaurant and very interestingly I found a thing, there was a barcode, so I scanned, the entire menu came to me and on my mobile. I ordered from my mobile, there was no interface between me and the person who was going to take the order. Previously, just imagine the previous situation, you were waiting for the people to come, take the order, then he will hand over the menu card to you, then after you will scan and then after you will order. So around the 10 to 15 minutes time was actually being killed. So if you are in a hurry, and I realized how much it has made my life simple.
Correct.
So make your entire employee experience in such a way that makes their life very, very simple.
Very simple. On the flip side, I don't know how many of you have seen this video about this kid who's sitting and studying about the sources of food. Has anybody seen that video? It's a humorous video as to how technology has come into their lives. So there's a kid who's sitting and studying with his books, and the mother comes and asks, what have you been studying for the last 1 year? And the kid turns around and says, the source of food. So the mother says, okay, what did you learn from it? What are the sources of food? He scratches his head and says, Swiggy and Zomato. Right? And so coming back to what you were saying in terms of, how technology has evolved and become a part of everybody's life, I think that video is a classic example. So, but with technology, obviously, Sandeep, I'll come to you. It's a topic of your interest, which is analytics and data. And I think, there's all of a sudden with technology touching every aspect of our life, what is happening is there is a huge influx of data that is coming in. But I personally believe the challenge is not about turning this data into insights, but how do you turn those insights into actions? Because only then the data that you're capturing kind of becomes meaningful, or rather, if I flip it the other way, only when you think about actions will you think about capturing the right type of data, instead of just looking at all the data that is coming in, right? So what are your thoughts on that? How do you think organizations should kind of go ahead and address the influx of data that is coming in and analytics that's coming in?
Okay. So I was just listening across all the panels on their thoughts about technology. So I would be having a different perspective when we talk about analytics, and when we are here on the areas of analytics, and specifically in terms of HR and how we go way forward as AI and other tools are getting into. So my concern is always the curiosity on the outcomes, how we move forward. So when we talk about analytics, specifically this works around the abbreviation of DDPP. That is descriptive, diagnostic, prescriptive, and predictive. How well we are into these four elements had we worked on? So if not, then we start thinking on. Because AI, machine learning, or whatever the tool is, how they work on the algorithm at the backside, we need to understand. It's not that we get the data over the master feeding, whether it is SAP, whether it is Javinbox, whether it is Workday, whether it is Adrenal. I am least bothered. Because how they are going to help me, what algorithm they are running across the system of my SOPs and other things, what it is going to give me the outcome is mattering me. One part which the others have stated is how you're going to make the life easy of the people through having the salary slips and whatever the help desk. That is one part. This is one part I'm telling you. Now, what ROI/HR is going to give to the stakeholders, to the CEOs, to the CXO, what are the questions they are going to backfire, that I need to think on. And that is the outcome which I have to receive from AI. My friend,
Right.
it is very difficult to go across those questions when it comes on business growth. And when we talk about HR, major things are intangible. And how we have to make this change transformation in the system is also a big call. When we look in for implementing these kind of software is also a big call. When we move on from manual transformation to a digital transformation, it is also a big call. So when you have stated about analytical strategy, that is a big thing which we need to see on. What is my learning curve? Where my KSA index is. KSA is knowledge, skill and ability index, where it is falling. I'm having many questions in mind. And do I have the right strategy on my analytics? And where my, whatever box it is, is it 3 box or 9 box, which elementary aspects your manpower workforce dynamics is falling into? Talking about on these questions, as a HR team, as a department, I am thinking, then I can think on my the buy-in from the HODs. Whether my concept is clear, look in that way. Because these are the questions which many of the HR fraternity didn't think on. They just adopt the technology and they think everything is going to do the AI. I'm just sitting on my chair, I'm getting from the AI. AI won't help out. You have to derive the algorithm out of it, the outcomes, what you need. You plan that analytical strategy. That's more important. I have done it in my Kusum Healthcare. I did in my previous organization. That is making your life easy. Because that's the question the CEO, the CXO, or the stakeholder is going to ask you, what is the ROI you have invested around 1 crore, 2 crore, whatever the software price is. One, you have made the life easy. What does it impact on the business? Your attrition is going high. Your risk engagement is high.
True.
Many people in the system, I find, you have provided many good things. I talk about, I've seen many good organizations. Nokia is the right example. Many things have been provided. Still, Nokia is out of the market.
It didn't innovate.
Right? So, that we need to see, the case studies of the falling empires. So please, being from the same fraternity, adopt the technology, but look in what is the exact requirement of my business and how you adopt it.
True. So if I summarize this in a slightly different way, the way I would look at it is identify what are the parameters that actually drives the people management function within your business. What are the points, the pressure points in your people management? Because for some organization, the cost of hiring might be more as compared to the cost. I'm just giving one simple example for easy understanding. Vis-a-vis, for another organization, the cost of retention might be more. Vis-a-vis, for another organization, the cost of expansion might be more in terms of, how do I expand? So depending on your business type, identify what are your points which you want to, business critical points which you want to analyze, right? The standard analytics are all there in terms of demographics, blah, 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 DEI and all that. But what is critical is identifying what are your business critical people management data points that you want to analyze, number one. Identify what are the sources from which you're going to get this data. Because today, data is not just coming from an HRMS platform. I like the point that you made, right? Just because you have a piece of software to do HRMS, it doesn't necessarily mean that the business analytics is going to come only from there. So for example, we have customers who've kind of integrated their performance management with ERPs as well as CRM, so that you can kind of get the analytics and data from there about a salesperson's performance, billing person's performance, correlating that with collections so that it comes into the KPI and OKRs, which is there in the system, or the 9-box metrics. So identify the sources.
Based on this one thing, just to add, as the KPI, we find a standard pattern in all these softwares. Basic element which we have to see when we design whether it's a performance goal management module or whatever, as the software is, they all goes with KI, KPI and the measure of standard. Basic ask is not the KPI and the KRA which you are framing. The basic ask is what MOS you are mapping it up with those. Measure of standards is a critical factor.
Correct.
So you have to see it, very elementary aspect is covered in that. And because it's just a template, back of the side, you have been into an HR, you have to see whether the MOS is rightly mapping the performance. That is the efficiency part of the product.
Absolutely.
That is, you have to see. That the software is not going to do for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and I think that's where, where you see is where the, business-centric, business-critical analytics comes into play and comes in from various other applications. I think we've got about 8 minutes, but, we had 2 questions for each one of you, but most of you covered up all the points in those questions. I'm just going to take just 1 or 2 more questions and open it for the audience if the panel is okay with it. Niral, what I want to ask you is, the future of work, as we know, is continuously evolving, and it is contributed by 2 facts, right? So one thing which I personally firmly believe is if you take a look at it in this room today, we have, people from all generations as far as the workforce is concerned, and this is only going to increase, right? And I personally believe that if there has ever been a time where you had 4 or 5 generations of people in a workplace, it is today, right? From baby boomers who are born in the 60s to, Gen Z, Gen Y. I've kind of lost track of all the alphabets, right? And now they're saying that people who are born on or after 2010, do you know what generation they are called? Any guesses? Gen Alpha. And this is a generation in which ChatGPT, AI, and all this was born. So imagine the digital dexterity that they will have when they walk in through the doors of a workplace in the next 6 years to 7 years, because they were born in 2010, right? So which means there is going to be a lot of pressure, especially on CHROs, as to how do you create policies, procedures, organizational culture to balance out the baby boomers with the babies born in the ChatGPT era. So how do you think a CHRO should prep for this?
That's a really nice question, David. See, I think right from, we already witnessed a rising of the gig economy and hybrid work models. So I think HR, the leaders has to relook their indices. Okay, so today I make a presentation to my CHRO that, these are the people who left the organization less than 3 years. Oh, that's something concern area. These are the people who were staying since last 10 years. That's a green area. So I think this indices will change, and more importantly, the way we look at this indices will change. So, right from hybrid work models to gig economy, the kind of generation, people are going to come to volunteer in the organization. People are not going to come to, 5 saal, 10 saal, they are not going to come for that kind of purpose. They will have a purpose that, okay, let me try this organization. I want to work with this organization. If I get good experience, I'll continue. So then, in this technological advanced stage that we are going to head towards, I think employee experience will always be an area of, of the highlight, and will take the center stage. So if you want to, as you mentioned, the kind of generation that is going to join the workforce, they will come to volunteer. And as an HR leader, my job is to see how can I increase this period of volunteership. So, people are not going to come for 10 years or 15 years. Even if they come, then that could be the concern area for HR, So what today is green will become red tomorrow. Okay. So that is something, 5 years back when we were ordering something on Amazon or Flipkart, we were very anxious that I have payment prepaid kar diya hai. Now what is going to do with the order? But today I see a very clean and very crisp highlight of the orders. I am not anxious about it. Neither I am calling the customer service desk. Otherwise, 5 years back, 10 years back, this customer service desk were always busy. But today, hardly they get any calls. There's a chat bot attached to that. So I think this is the generation who will be less anxious on these areas. But then, we have to see how can we, in this technological advancement age, how can we engage them? And what are the things, engagement factors will also change. Something which will engage you and keep you happy in the organization will not keep me happy in the organization.
Absolutely.
So that is, we cannot apply a one-size-fit-all kind of approach to people. So that is what is going to change in the very near future. The changes are already visible in the India Inc. But yes, we need to relook our roles. We need to relook for example, I am running a department of 100 employees, With the coming of AI or machine learning, 100 people will remain 100 people. But then if I am, as a leader, if I am not relooking their roles or reshaping their roles, then I am doing bad to the organization. or I'm not using the technological advancement which is benefiting the organization. So this 100 people will remain 100 people, but there will be something which will be replaced by activities, will task, and those things will get replaced. But then human interact will come to picture. People will be more involved in decision making. People will be more involved in emotional intelligence. So those are the things which will come into picture. So if I'm running a department of a set of people, now the time has come that their roles will change and they have to adapt to these changes.
Absolutely. I like, the most important takeaway for me there, and I think which is important for HR folks also to, I'm sure you would take it as a takeaway as well, right? It's interesting to see that coming from a person who heads HR, which normally thinks about retention and longevity of an employee, the biggest mindset change is to increase the period of, how much they are volunteering to experiment, the younger workforce that is coming in. See what are the type of personalized experiences that you can provide to them so that that period kind of gets extended. But at the same time, have a backup plan in terms of, be ready to ensure that, if people are moving, let them move. What is your succession and backup plan? I hope I summarized what you said from a mindset perspective.
You have summarized it perfectly well. So the gist of this question that, as an HR leaders, we have to relook the way we look at our role in the organization.
Absolutely. So we're running short of time. So just one word answer for this question from all of you before I open the floor for 5 minutes, right? So one or two things. I'll start with you, Sonali, and maybe the question is, we've spoken a lot about AI. One thing which came out was everybody understands that AI is a necessity, but everybody is still finding their way towards where AI is kind of, going to play a part in terms of transforming. That is still evolving. And everybody believes that AI is the future, right? So keeping these three things in mind, one area in the HR space where you think AI is going to disrupt. Quick answer. Yeah, can you just check?
I think it has already. We have understood that we cannot get away with the human element. And employee journey is nothing but the sum total of the experiences. If these experiences can be empowered with technology, I think that's where we just need to rethink, reshape, and repurpose.
Thanks. Manish, over to you.
I think people need to understand, they need to adopt technology, a little wayward answer.
Yeah.
But right now it is supporting you. Next 5 years, it's going to guide you. Next 5 years, it's going to direct you.
Right.
Be ready for it.
So great. Dharamji.
So disruption is already there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how you can fasten this way disruption for the more benefit to the organization as well as to your employees. So I see this thing, as if the previous question was the Gen Alpha to the baby boomer. Use AI to understand their engagement drivers, customize it, make it for the organizational purpose as well as the employee purpose. That is going to help the HR.
Absolutely. Thank you. Niral.
I was reading an article yesterday, and it was about the top 5 roles that is going to be in demand across industry, So the prompt engineer is the role that is going to be the highest paid, will remain highest paid for the next 3 years.
Okay.
So you understand that, when it comes to demand and supply, the demography is going to change. What was in demand 5-10 years back may have reduction in demand. Now, if you want to keep value high in the market, then always you have to reskill.
Right.
And as an HR, we have to support the organization in reskilling, and otherwise, see, we have to see ourselves as a role of providing the organization a competitive edge.
Right.
So that's what is going to give us a competitive edge to the organization.
Right.
So I just give a one-liner on it. So whatever the technology you guys are looking to adopt, look in the business requirement, user-friendly and outcome-based.
Right.
That is what I feel like.
Right. Thanks, Sandeep. So if I need to summarize, I think the areas where it comes up is how do you enhance, AI is going to enable and enhance experiences, which increases engagement, which provides the right set of insights, identifies the areas where people can be skilled, reskilled to develop themselves as well as the organization. And last but not the least, bring about an overall, growth for the organization as well as individuals by using the right set of technology. I think these are the areas where there is going to be continuous disruption as far as technology and AI is concerned. So thank you very much. I'm going to open the floor quickly for a few questions.
Thank you so much, David. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for this wonderful panel here. And special thanks to David for wonderfully moderating the session. Yes, we'll open the floor.
There are a few questions.
Yes, we can take a couple of questions. So I request you to raise your hand. We'll pass on the mic to you. Once you get the mic, please introduce yourself, your organization, and question to which particular panel member. If it is a generic one, I think then David is the right person to decide which panel member will be taking it. Sure. Yes.
Hi, my name is Madhur Anand. I'm from Skills Cafe. My question is general. With a lot of AI, and today I was listening to you and I was feeling AI is the new permanent employee in the organization.
Isn't it?
A lot of data is going to be handled by the HR. And last year, India's data privacy laws came into effect. What should be the philosophy that HR should look at for the responsibility of data privacy? Anybody?
I think, Sandeep, you want to take that, and then Dharam, you can add.
Primarily, what we need to see is the data concern should be looking on the encryption aspects, anonymization, and how you look in the security audit. That is more important. When you look in the security privacy and the concerns related, whatever the data, whether it is big data or the other aspects, you all have to look in how well the system mechanism is. And the concern areas of controlling are well addressed. Otherwise, there always is an issue. And obvious, the privacy is the better part of it. So answering that, we have to look in the mechanism of control in a way that the security audit and other things are going on all across the system, whole across the year, so that things are in place.
So I will give you a very different perspective. It's only a responsibility of employer or HR, it is an employee's responsibility to employee too. Okay? And what kind of data privacy we are looking for? Your data is everywhere. In the morning, someone was showing this thing to me that, are you on the Insta? So these are my wildlife photography. The moment I become the friend of this very guy, I know what this guy is doing this thing. Sometimes back, Haryana Skill Development Mission wanted to have some bit of information about me, and they're asking me to, can you give me your Aadhaar card number? I told, sorry, I can't provide you the Aadhaar card number. Okay? Because Aadhaar card is a basic number, and when I don't know how we are going to use it, although it is a government department. So when you are using the data, you use it wisely. Despite having all sort of the controls, what he was mentioning about checks and the data security protocol, and there's an act also. Okay? And this is again the evolving act kind of thing. But at the same time, it is the responsibility and accountability of the employees to maintain the privacy of their data, use their social media platform wisely. Don't go and start putting each and every information on the social media, and then tomorrow he comes back and tells this thing, sorry boss, my data has lost. I have not given my photograph to the organizers, but I found that my photograph is there. Okay? They have gone through my entire LinkedIn profile. They know each and everything about me. So what kind of the privacy I'm looking for? Very simple answer.
True.
And this data protection is a very wide term. What data HR is protecting, it's very professional. Today, the divulging your salary to your colleague may be big no, but tomorrow you go out and put that salary data on Naukri's account is in public domain. So we really need to be thinking this data protection, if it is just a wider term, or we are talking about some very personal data which can be compromised tomorrow.
Right. Any more questions?
Thank you. Yeah, I think we can take one question here. Can we have the mic?
Hi everyone, my name is Sabit. I'm the part of Flipkart HR team. So there is a question because we discuss on the digitization automation. So earlier what happened when we leaving the home office, we don't have work because everything in the office. Because of laptop, because of mobiles and everything. We every time occupied in the business work. So do you think it impact on the employees' productivity? Because generally what happens when we leave office, we have a time to spend with the family, with the friends. But now what happens, we are sitting here, we are occupied in the mobile, checking the mails. Do you think it will impact on the productivity as well as reduce the employees' morale and increase the dissatisfaction?
Can I try to answer?
Yeah, please.
I have a counter question for you. What do you feel if you think your productivity has increased or it has gone down?
I think when I'm occupied somewhere, so many times what happens if I'm working 14 hours, 15 hours because I'm working on a project. That time what happens? Ideas, if we talk about...
No, just my answer is very simple. Answer me is very simple. Do you feel this thing your productivity has gone up or productivity has gone down due to technology?
It is based on the situation. For example...
Again, you are giving a big answer to me. I am a very simple answer. It has helped you or not helped you?
Sorry, I can't say.
You don't want to give this very answer. The reason is very simple. Because I am using the technology for my own advancement and improving my productivity, but at the same time, I am finding this thing during this my productive time, I am also using my personal space. Okay? So while I am doing the office job, at the same time also using all the smart gadgets for some bit of my professional kind of things. Okay? The only thing I find this thing, the answer comes to your 12, 14, 15 hours. Previously, without technology, when you were doing this thing, perhaps you will be able to do the entire job in the 24 hours. Now, which are you doing in the 15 hours? But somewhere it is the work-life balance is getting impacted. And my simple answer is like this thing, work is also important and life is also important. Decide between urgent and critical. Which job is urgent for you? Suppose that your girlfriend is calling and your boss is calling, you need to decide which is urgent and critical for you. If you feel this thing, your boss is more critical, go to your boss. If you feel this thing, your girlfriend is more critical, go to your boss.
No, it depends on the season.
Maintain this way, kind of.
It depends on the season. If it is February or March. February, girlfriend is important. March, appraisal time, boss is important.
No, but see this thing, David, even though it is a March and your girlfriend has deserted you, there is no meaning of this very March also for you. That kind of thing.
So it all depends on the personality, sir. It depends on what is easier to get, a boss or a girlfriend.
Just want to add something here. You are talking about working 14 to 15 hours, or you are talking about working flexibly. That 6 hours in the office, then going back and doing something, or you are working 14 hours a day. So you may want to look at that. If it is working flexibly, it has definitely helped us. But yes, if it is 14 to 15 hours, I think you should walk up to your HR then.
There is one more factor to this. There is, along with the productivity, there is consistency. So today I am productive. If I work for 15 hours a day, I have done my task, 2-4 और काम extra कर लिए. But can I maintain that consistency? Today, if I have to go from Delhi to Lucknow, I can drive at 140 speed, but उससे accident भी हो सकता है. So you have to be productive at the same time. That consistency should remain. So that is also something along with, just highway पे लिखा होता है गति के साथ सुरक्षा.
See, guys, bottom line, I'll finish with this. As boundaries are non-existent any further, the boundaries has to be created by us as individuals and to bring about that balance. Right? Today, and that is where technology is a boon as well as a bane. Right? So how do we strike that balance is not just an individual, but it is also an organization's prerogative. Right? So it's a combination of both. The whole idea of technologies like Copilot and all that is coming is actually to increase productivity and also bring about that work-life balance, is to do more with less. Is not to do, more by giving you more, right? I hope you're able to understand what I'm saying. So that's where I would want to leave it. At the end of the day, it is in our hands as to how do we kind of, today, boundaries are not there. It's not work from anywhere. It is work from everywhere, right? So how do you put an end to it is in our hands at the end of the day, right? So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much, panel members. I request David and the panel members to kindly be on stage. And I would like to call on stage Mr. Sanjay Ranganathan, Chief Executive from L&T EduTech, to kindly do the honors of felicitating this wonderful panel of experts here. Thank you, Sanjay ji, for gracing us. We'll start with Ms. Sonali Chadda from Intercontinental Hotels Group first. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause to Ms. Sonali Chadda for her wonderful contribution in this panel. Thank you, Sonali ji. Moving next to Mr. Manish Kathuria from Honda Cars India. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Manish Kathuria from Honda Cars India for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. RAKSHIT from Hero MotoCorp. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. RAKSHIT for his wonderful contribution in the panel session. Moving next to Mr. Niral Bhatt from Zydus Group. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Niral Bhatt from Zydus Group for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Sandeep Singh from Kusum Healthcare. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sandeep Singh, Kusum Healthcare, for his wonderful contribution in the panel. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would like to call on the Honorable Moderator, Mr. David Madhan from Adrenalin.hr Systems. A big round of applause to David for wonderfully moderating this panel session. I would now request the panel members to kindly come forward for a group photograph. David, if you could also join them. And Sanjay ji, if you could also join them.